All right, hello and welcome to 195 images from before November 2022. These are all Minecraft screenshots of mine. So this is a nifty little thing I had created a long time ago for, just drawing a bunch of blocks in a way that isn't just like the slash fill command. Um, that's not super important. It's just fun to see, um, an automated thing function instead of just placing TNT. This is the way I made it 10 years ago or whatever. So it's just the way I do it now. I know there are a lot more ways to do it that are much more efficient. So now we get to look at the maze. Not the current maze. No, no, no. This is another maze I made a few years ago. This was the Phantom Room. So if the spawner looks a little weird in the background, that's because it's a phantom spawner. So that means if anybody ran around in here, they would immediately get run over by a bunch of phantoms. It's kind of entertaining, and we'll see that later. Yeah, so as you can see here, there's a considerable number of phantoms. So what the heck is that thing in the middle? Well, okay, so I'm making a maze, but it gets kind of boring when it's just a maze. So there are usually a bunch of tombs scattered throughout. This one is the only one that had end rods around it. I tried to make each one a little unique. Um, But yeah, basically I didn't feel like filling in this space with a maze, like this big empty room here. So I just added a roof, made it look a little interesting, and added some phantom spawners. And that way, by not doing work, I actually did more work. So that's kind of fun. Here's just another angle on it. The little green eyes are kind of spooky, but it's a lot scarier in survival than creative or spectator. So here we see that it's called Chuck. Um, I just named every one of the tombs so that way I could remember the coordinates. Well, I would write down the coordinates and then I would know what was where and what was in the chest. So it was very convenient because people would be like, I found Chuck. Although sometimes they'd be like, I found a tomb. I didn't read the name. It got blown up by a creeper and I died. I'm like, well, okay. It's kind of unfortunate. Here we just had some things about the maze, just like takes place in the dirt. That's because this maze was almost entirely made out of dirt. There's some sections that weren't made out of dirt. Um, the rules would change over time. At that point, I was calling the double chests like Chuck-related things. This was on a friend's realm or server, so she was building something over here. Um, this was just a little background thing. I say little. This is obviously not little. As you can see on the right-hand side, that is entirely artificial. This is the spider area. So basically, all of these lines are 2 blocks off the ground, like there's 1 block underneath them, and then they're on top of that, and then the layer above them will be a roof. So that way the spiders can walk wherever they want, and they can definitely see the player as the player is trying to run around. And the 4 spawners means that the spiders will be pretty well distributed. I usually do normal spiders, not cave spiders. Cave spiders are a little extreme. I don't really like doing that. Maybe if it's a very contained space, but normally no. The spiders freak people out. Um, if somebody breaks a block or if they go 1 block down, they can see how big the area is, and the spiders are just kind of scary. This is another situation where less is actually more. By not adding the lower block in the wall, it means the spiders have more room to maneuver and they can just jump at people. So this might be the level above it. Yeah, so as you can see, this is kind of choppy. Um, and here it's a lot more flat. Because every time I would build up with dirt, poke a few holes so that people could fall through, or zombies or whatever else could fall through on people. It's always scary when a creeper falls through. Um, yeah, it would just get more flat over time, which is very nice. The snow made things very interesting because then, people are having to walk through it. This looks kind of neat. So normally what I would do is I would just build what looked like a maze level and then cover it in 1 layer of dirt. Unfortunately, I didn't use commands because I was on somebody else's server. So this was actually all built by hand, which is kind of a lot. Obviously, I didn't build the stone. This is just a mountain biome. I find mountain biomes a lot more interesting to work in because some snow gets in the maze, the dirt and the grass looks a little bit better, and every so often there's random stone. So when players see stone, they're like, "Oh, that's um, that was just always there, so I shouldn't bother with that." And so that's a very useful psychological tool because if I really want someone to avoid a certain area, like over here, I can just make it out of stone. So that's quite nice. Here's another shot, much wider shot. Yeah, it's pretty fun to make. As you can see, there's some areas where these are just long hallways, and it's really boring. Um, but there are other sections which are quite intricate. Obviously, the edges are really annoying because I have to do every block individually. I can't just autopilot, go up and down a straight line. Oh yeah, this is the path. So basically, whenever friends were making their way from the beginning, like spawn area, to the maze, they would have to walk along a path. Every so often, I would add more trees, make the path a little bit more interesting. Like, as you can see, there's some variation in the blocks. Um, and that's because whenever I would go through it, I would bring a new type of block with me. Like, for example, this andesite, which I think is like polished andesite. I don't know. The point is, I'd bring one new type of block with me and just make the road a little bit more interesting. Right, it's up here. Yep, so that's just a friend joining the server. As you can see, this looks very interesting when it's all dirt. All dirt and grass. Yes, it is more flat. That's because this is later on. Yeah, this is just, people being like, haha, I found stuff, and don't break the spawners. That was one thing I didn't want people to do, just don't break the spawners. As you can see, if they don't break the spawners, this sort of thing happens, which is very entertaining. So, um, Jamie here is trying to figure out how to deal with this room, because this is not normal. Players don't normally have to deal with like 30 phantoms at a time. Here, Garaben is being chased by zombies, which keep following up from lower levels to higher levels. Currently, I'm in a wall right here in spectator mode, so that's why I can see everything. As the players go through the maze, they place torches, which means it's actually quite interesting when the maze has been somewhat explored because the players will fill that place with torches, which will light it up. And because of that, all the other parts of the maze have a higher spawn rate or ratio because there's less space for the monsters to spawn, so they'll actually spawn more in the newer areas. Um, it also makes people a little comfortable when they see the torches, like, oh, I've been here. This might be safe. But it is a little confusing because every player usually places torches in a different way. So this is just another shot. As you can see, there are a lot of ladders in the background, ways for players and mobs to go up and down. Yeah, here Jamie's getting swarmed. The phantoms have realized there's a player nearby. That's not going to go well. Yeah, I screenshotted this twice because this is just too funny. Like, oh, that's rough, buddy. Here, Garaben's just trying to figure out how to navigate a little bit. As you can see, this room is once again kind of sloppy, but that actually makes it more interesting to look around. Here's a giant room I made. I would call this one the library. It's not filled in yet. It never actually got fully filled in. But just by building something like this, it was a way to make the environment look a little bit different on the inside. Unfortunately, because of my render distance, it looks like it just goes on forever, but that's okay. So here I built some nice little steps. Um, this is what it looks like on the outside. Eventually, the plan was to cover all this up, but I think the maze stopped before then. Yeah, so the bottom is cobblestone. This is what it looks like with night vision. Night vision is a really useful thing to have on you when building something like this. Also, once again, I built these by hand instead of copy pasting, which was very, very annoying. But, just didn't want to use commands on a friend server in case I used the wrong command and wipe somebody's stash or something. Yeah, so there would be a few mobs walking around in here. The wood was in nice, interesting thing. Um, oh, by the way, these are just random names. So like if you see your name here, this isn't um, designed to freak people out. Here we have another tomb in here. This was a spider room. I actually used some TNT underground to blow this out. Um, yeah, like it's just a normal tomb. It's just a really unique one compared to a bunch of the other ones. It's another look at the names. As you can see in here, I added a few more layers of wood. Another phantom spawner. Maybe it was a different type of spawner. Um, might have gotten bored. Here we see Charlie fighting only baby zombies. So when players go through the maze, sometimes I'll prank them in some way. And unfortunately for Charlie, he had to deal with a swarm of baby zombies. Um, he was able to get out of it though. As we can see here, the layers are getting built up, up, and up over time. You can see the library on the right-hand side, and obviously this section in the middle was, part of a mountain in the mountains biome. And I was just making a nice little box, raising the layer a little bit, and after that I would cover it. The snow is definitely an interesting thing to have in the maze, and as players place torches, it gets rid of them. Um, these obsidian walls were added later on as I wanted to make a giant obsidian section. But I never really got to it. We'll talk about this thing in the background a little bit later, but this is just, you know, sorry, I'm just noticing got a Discord message. That's really annoying. Uh, it's always when you're on Do Not Disturb. That's when they come to say hi. Right, so this is just a random name. I started putting cake next to all the tombs, not because that makes any sense, but it was just a nice little reward for people. They could eat some cake when they get some treasure. As you can see, one misstep in here causes some damage. Unfortunately, because of the cake, I wasn't able to put one layer above this, so this was one layer taller than everything else, which made it very interesting because Enderman could sneak up in here. Because Enderman could sneak up in here, I figured, we could add the phantoms. Because below is actually the phantom room. And as you can see, there are some holes in the floor because this was built after some players had gone through and tried out the phantom room. This is just a thing from later. Yes, Evil Larry. So I charged some creepers, used a name tag called Evil Larry. It's just a name tag that I put in an anvil. It doesn't give any special benefit, it was just kind of a funny thing. So these guys were running around through the maze. They would do a huge amount of damage because, everything's made of dirt. So explosions were quite large. These little boxes are really annoying for people to deal with because they kind of all look the same and the whole thing's full of dirt and these are snowy. So it's just kind of funny. This is what the entrance looks like. Basically, at the entrance there's a diving board and then you can jump through lava into water. So I'm standing in water right now. There's a charge creeper with me, so I had to block that off. I did that by making this go 2 down, so that way any mob trying to get in the water would get caught. Obviously Enderman won't teleport into water, so that eliminates everything. This is what it looks like from the outside. We're just moving up the layers one by one. Obviously that stone is artificial. But yeah, look at that in the background. It's nice and flat. It's always nice to see it just get a little bit taller. As you can see over here, there are lots of holes, lots of trapdoors. Yeah, so this room used to be like 3 different rooms, but as charge creepers like that one blew stuff up, definitely made things interesting in here. There are some spider spawners, so that's why there are lots of spiders. Unfortunately, spiders get stuck on the walls, so they kind of just freak people out, unless the level is flat, in which case they'll actually run at the player. But this one was quite close to the entrance, so it was kind of comforting for people to see. Because it's like a wide open area where they've already dealt with everything and there's some torches, so in an emergency they can go back and get more if they really need them. As we can see, this is a little bit to the left of the flat area. Also, I built some steps. These are quite nice. So basically, build a large flat area and then cut off a little section. Build something, make it even smaller, and then even smaller. And it's very satisfying when I lose motivation. Because I can just say, oh, I'm working on something small, and get that done. Right here, I blocked everything off with glass because I had filled the normal maze entrance with bees, and I wasn't really sure what to do in that situation because I didn't want to kill the bees because then they would attack me. Yeah, I was just like, I don't know what to do. Here's a shot from underneath in spectator mode. As you can see, there's the library in the background. This looks quite interesting. Oh yeah, the Endermen carry dirt around. So that's one of the funny things about building it out of dirt. The landscape changes a lot because of the Enderman. So it's like the maze is changing itself. As you can see, there's a little tomb over here. So there's always a fun little thing like that. Oh yeah, this room is just full of trees for no reason. Uh, it helps people orientate themselves a little bit in the maze. If they need some wood, they can just grab it in there. It's just a nice little extra thing. This is a totally random thing, by the way. I find it's quite fun to leave the caves as they are, because then people would just be like, the heck is this, Here, Erebus45 wasn't following the rules and he decided to run off on his own, so I decided to spawn zombies everywhere. Why not? So he was having some fun trying to kill all the zombies, and I added more zombies. And then he went on top of the maze, so I added phantoms. I think eventually they forced him back in the maze. They might have just killed him. I don't remember. I think they forced him back in. It's not really fun to just like auto kill a player. Um, Merely just redirect them towards the maze. So here we have a bunch of the evil Larrys. At some point I probably broke down the wall and all of these guys just got released into the maze, and because they're all name tagged, they last forever. So yeah, just like put a little roof over this after breaking down the wall, and because of that, there would be a swarm of evil Larrys. Here's a little tomb found by the people who found it. And here we have the entrance. So yeah, people would have to climb up this thing, which had some ice on it, and a ladder, and then they'd have to go across the trapdoors. Don't break a trapdoor. There's always the possibility of falling. This thing in the back is actually just lava that goes to death all the way at the bottom, so don't fall down that. What you really want to do is fall down this lava here. So climb up the thing, jump off the trapdoors into the lava, go through the water in the bottom. Everybody learned about this after doing it the first time, but it was kind of funny when the first person went down it and they're like, oh no. Of course, there are some people that are like, forget this nonsense. I'm just going to climb up, I'm going to jump through the lava, I'm going to tank some damage, and, that's it. I don't want to deal with it, which is totally valid. Here we have the flat terrain, which is, very weird to look at. This is definitely not a pyramid, definitely not a mountain. There's the obsidian wall in the background covering the library. It might have actually gone through the library. I don't remember. It's very fun to layer stuff on top of each other so people can see the map age as they're playing through it. Here's another lazy section. Sometimes, it's just nice to have these for variety. Yeah, so I might have just included like a little doorway into each one of these sections where people could walk through. Sometimes they'll get filled with a few mobs, so normally people don't want to walk through there. And they can definitely tell that it's filler content, so they usually don't want to deal with it. Here we have an area that is definitely not filler content. As you can see, there's a cake in the bottom left-hand corner, so that's a tomb. On the right-hand side, this is open, and it has a different lighting level, so that's probably also another tomb. There's a little library section below. Garabin is hanging out with some bees, so they might have been attacking her. There's snow, there's rain, like, there's a lot going on. That's the main library section over there. As we can see, Jamie is still being hunted by the phantoms. Oh, that's right. Over here you can see what happened when one of the charge creepers went off. Obviously, that's a pretty big explosion. And there are two more, so Garvin has to be very careful. That is an explodey thing. I don't remember what it's called, but I'm pretty sure you will once you're watching it. Yes, you. I'm addressing the viewer. Uh, Obviously, there's another charge creeper that went off here. Some experience over there. And as you can see, the little pink or purple thing was destroyed. That's part of the reason there was obsidian there. The glass was just super random. It's kind of fun to add super random stuff every so often. So I had to seal this up after everybody had gone through. I don't know if I did. I might have just left it empty. It is kind of funny to leave the craters from before. As you can see here, we have a skeleton with a creeper head. I thought these were kind of funny because then, you know, somebody would walk around a corner, see a creeper, and be like, ah, it's a creeper, but it would actually be a skeleton. So that was kind of fun. Uh, so instead of sealing off the room, Garabin decided to uh, do whatever this is. I don't know. It's kind of funny, but I guess it didn't end well. As you can see, some stuff probably fell into the flames, so that's very unfortunate. But, you know, respect for trying to play it the way it's supposed to be played. As we can see here, Jamie is still fighting phantoms. I don't know who that is. I can't tell they're taking too much damage. Oh yeah, this is something I tried later, where I said that people could choose a class as like additional loot. Not additional loot, but additional gear to help them through the maze. So if they wanted to have a bunch of arrows or specialty arrows or water buckets or just a bunch of extra food or something, you know, they could grab that. Although what would normally happen is people just walk in here, take what they need from random chests, and then leave, you know? They usually wouldn't grab stuff from one chest, and that's okay. This is just what the inventory looked like. You know, this is a generic spawner, so you have to do like give player mob underscore spawner or something, and it's always a pig spawner originally, but then as soon as you click on it with any other egg, it converts it to whatever that egg is. But I don't think there's a way to alter it in one's inventory anymore, which is unfortunate because a long time ago, people used to be able to spawn ender dragons that way. I don't know how to do it now. I don't really care though. This is just another little space. Got a few more of these. Those are bone blocks. I added these spooky guys in here just for fun. Only in this small little section here. We don't want them all throughout the maze. Same with the bone blocks. They're kind of useless. That's just another room I added later. You know, this is the uh, spooky walk up to the top before they jump in over there. And then this is just some extra room. As you can see from this angle, this is a lot taller than it looked earlier, as is that pillar over there. Oh yeah, these are some supplies I would give people. Obviously that's a lot. If you need that much coal, that much iron, that much wood, and that much steak, it's probably not going to go well no matter what. This is not part of the maze. At least I don't think it is. It might just be from another part of the world. This is part of the maze. So right now Erebus 45 is trying to deal with a certain mob from the end dimension that I decided to spawn in here with him, which was very frustrating to deal with. Obviously, every so often something would break out of the maze and people would see sunlight and they'd be like, oh, whoopsies. That's not where I want to go. Here we see Charlie is fighting some of these instead of Jamie for a change. That's good. It looks like Charlie and Kenzie are fighting some stuff. Mostly zombies, pretty much only zombies. Yeah, I don't see anything else. More zombies. This is from a different world. I don't remember which one this was. So basically what I do when I'm just playing vanilla Minecraft by myself and I want to build a nice little house is I go all the way down to bedrock just because there's lava down there. Well, actually, I don't know if I really play like this anymore because this is from several years ago before the world went below zero. So what I would do is I would go down, I'd get some lava, that would be my infinite fuel. Coal would get converted into torches, and for whatever reason, slime would always spawn because I would hollow out enough of the mine area so that slime would spawn everywhere. I was trying to build something here, don't know what it was. At least I think I was. I don't know, I might have just been nuking the place. This might have just been a test world. This is from a multiplayer server somebody had where I decided I was going to make a giant secret base in public. As you can see, that looks extremely suspicious. But it was pretty good fun, you know. How many people build a house under lava? Or not lava, but gravel and then cobblestone. Looks really weird. Extremely suspicious. Somebody was definitely around here. So this is the house underneath. Obviously I didn't have much to work with as I still had stone tools. And this was my farm, you know, it was pretty small. But I did have an enchanting table, a few levels. This is from a different server. This was a snapshot. This was like when caves and cliffs were first introduced. So this is what it looks like from below. Obviously, this is a little spooky. I dug straight down because I was like, yeah, I'll find a cave that way. Of course, it was filled with mobs. So that was exciting. And as usual, I decided, I'll live down here. So to hang out with everybody, I'd have to go all the way back up the ladder, which was kind of annoying. Added these little pools at the bottom, just in case somebody fell, they could fall into one of the corners. Although normally when people would fall, they would fall straight in the middle anyways, which was kind of funny. This is a place to stop, just in case somebody wants to pick up lapis or something. As you can see, it's quite interesting when just mining down layer by layer, eliminating all the blocks as slime will spawn in and, you know, iron and other stuff will get exposed. It's quite interesting. It's not something really people really do anymore because it's not efficient at all. But it's a very nice old school thing. This was just some generation where I was like, oh wow, this is a big cave. You know, just hanging out with Charlie, looking at some slime. Uh, there's a secret base at some point. This is from Garabin's house. For some reason, pillagers always spawn near her, which is really funny because she hates pillagers more than everybody else. Obviously, the Endermen were a little active in this location. This was an area Jared built. He's very good at building, at least compared to the rest of us. So everything looks pretty good. Nice colors, very useful. I didn't really know what to do with copper here because it wasn't useful at that time. Might be useful now, I don't know. Weird rocks, I would always get roasted for. I would classify this block as a weird rock, this block as a weird rock, and, you know, diorite as weird block. So that's what's in those. Garbage is probably like rotten flesh and stuff. I wonder if you can guess what cobblestone is. And of course, random. This was Dawson's base. I think Dawson's base was the coolest in terms of the amount of effort that was put in for what he got back. I mean, this was a bunch of pools of water at different levels. You could swim throughout it. Somehow drowned didn't spawn in here, which I found was really interesting. Drowned wouldn't spawn, but fish would. He also got a bunch of animals down here, which is crazy because this is way down by bedrock. And it's attached to a bunch of other caves. It's actually like 500 blocks away from the rest of us. So to get from this place to the last place, people would have to travel all the way back there and then go that way. Which was really annoying because we were more so this way. So like even within this crazy cave where I'm just trolling people and placing torches everywhere because I play on moody lighting and that's the only way to be able to see. I don't really know what I was thinking there. Let's go to the next one. Oh, yeah, this is Soy Roy's Arboretum, plant room. I don't really know what to call it. Looks quite nice. Um, I'm pretty sure this was all done in survival too. So this person really collected stuff. This is some Hypixel stuff. Blah blah blah. This is just a random location. Every so often I'll walk around the world, just grab images of stuff. Sometimes it looks kind of cool, but most of the time I'm just looking for places like this so that I can give the cores to somebody. Anybody who's looking for some flowers or whatever's going on. I believe this is single player. I don't know. Oh, this is on Erebus 45's Stream World, which has been down for a very, very long time. Oh, it looks like I got a second Discord message. And it looks like we're approaching 30 minutes, so this is quite a long video. I think we're about halfway through this, so it might be an hour long. I'm gonna drink some water. Alright. Yeah, that was Erebus 45's house. There was some sheep in there. I think it was like 3 sheep at first. This was his mine. His mine actually got to be quite big. You can probably check this out on his channel if you want. Although I don't think it's on YouTube, I think it's mostly on Twitch, and I think there's a high possibility he actually deleted all the VODs. So good luck with that. I should have 12 videos on this world, on this channel somewhere. Maybe not. Looks like there's some repeats in here. Oh yeah, this was something on a Realm Garlban set up at some point. This was just a cool village I found. Or at least I thought it was a cool village. I don't know. Don't roast me, guys. This is from Zach's house on Erebus 45's world. For some reason, Zach decided to build a rainbow bridge in the sky. And I couldn't see it at all, because obviously those are the mountains, and my render distance just wouldn't allow it. It was kind of funny, because some of these snow blocks were actually powdered snow, so you could fall all the way through. Kind of a meme, but you know. I'm just mining some stuff. Oh yeah, this is the bottom at Erebus 45's mine. Dawson and I set this up. Obviously this was around Christmas, because the chests look like that. Oh man, they spent so much time trying to get this rail system set up, and it worked, but it was definitely not. I don't know if it was worth the time put in. Uh, this looked cool, but it definitely wasn't worth the time put in because later on, Erebus 45 removed this along with a bunch of other pixel art like this one. I was pretty happy with this one. These are definitely copy designs. Um, Unfortunately, I don't have the links to the content creators or pixel artists or whatever this is. Pixel art artists? I don't know, it's very complicated. So I'm growing some bamboo in the background. Right here is a giant hole which goes down to a pretty big cavern. Um, yeah, obviously this area is flat, and that's where Erebus 45 was going to build a castle, but he didn't. This is up by Zach's house. He decided to have vines grow all the way down, which is probably a little bit laggy. See, he's climbing up that here. That cave doesn't go anywhere. This is Jared's little house. The bamboo was the rest of us trolling him, which was kind of rude, but whatever. I think we eliminated all the trees first, and then these were grown back. But it might be that we just left those until later because we didn't care. This is at the edge of my cave. We were just looking at it earlier. It was the one with the pixel art. The pixel art was behind me, back to the left. Obviously this guy is coming in to say hi. I don't know why, but raid parties would show up here. This was a hoe that could basically one-shot people, which I thought was very amusing. It's a netherite hoe, so it clicks very quickly. This is back on, I think this is on Erebus 45's server. Yeah, he'd be growing wheat in the background, and my house would be on the left over here. So this was when I placed a bunch of saplings, so I could just get a bunch of oak wood. I didn't really feel like going to every tree individually. I built a bunch of these little way stations. They were called hotels. Inside, obviously, you know, they have some stuff. So this is what the bad ones would look like on the inside. There'd be a little bit of, you know, dirt and grass, just for space. Lots of torches for lighting, glass so that people could see outside, doors, just in case one of the doors got blown up, and then, you know, people would still have a door. The chest would have some food in it and other basic supplies. Obviously a bed to reset if you need to, or like set your spawn or whatever. The water, you know, infinite water source block, crafting table, you know, these are all pretty basic things. I think there were 13 of these, but they're all in a big circle around the mountainous area. I thought that was a cool beehive. That's pretty much all that is. It was very high. I had never seen a beehive that high before. This was when we were figuring out how to sneak around using ender pearls. I think Josh, Dawson, and Jared, maybe also Zach, built an enderman farm. This was horrible. Oh my god, this took forever. We did this with diamond tools, and there was no beacon or anything, so it was pretty annoying to carve out. Josh really likes to flatten areas, and once he gets a big open space, he's kind of like, I'm gonna do something, right? Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna build a castle, and then he like never does. He's very good at getting us to clear spaces, but then he never does anything with them, so it's kind of annoying, but it looks pretty cool. This was at the very back. Actually, let's go back one. So my cave is on the left side over there. My house was over here, and then that was another exit. This was just an additional cave. But yeah, back here is where the pixel art is. So he's trying to fill in the space with the pixel art and then eliminate it, which is, you know, kind of sad, but that happens sometimes. The pink wool is to figure out where the borders are for the castle. As you can see, it goes way past my pixel art, so it's kind of sad. Just hanging out with an ender pearl there. Dawson made a bunch of pixel art. Unfortunately, this one was a lot bigger, but I didn't save it properly. I'm not really sure what happened here. This was so if Josh got bored while he was flying around with his elytra, he could try zooming through those. I think he died up there a few times, but for the most part, he was having a good time zooming. I think some other people used it too. I totally didn't, but I don't know how to use an elytra. I don't know how to use an elytra safely. It's just something I never learned how to do because, uh, I'd been playing for a long time before elytra came out, so I still see them as new content, even though they're probably like more than 5 years old. So that's my house over there. Just had a nice little roof over it for the entranceway. Um, this looks really weird because it's so incredibly artificial. Obviously, this is just goofing around. And these pink bars, we're not trying to set up like some sort of symbol or anything. We just wanted to see how tall a certain number of blocks would be. So I think that goes up to like 10 blocks. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think it goes all the way up to 10, so we can see the scale. Yeah, I mean, that's a few blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, it looks like 10. I might have counted wrong. So what we did here was we made this a wall that goes straight up and down, and then this was like a half circle that goes over top of nothing. So that was quite interesting. I think it was like 4 blocks thick. It was it was way thicker than it needed to be. I mean, that's not true, but as you can see, there's this really annoying biome blend going on. So we weren't too happy about that. It's always nice when everything's mountain colors because it's just a little bit darker and it doesn't end up being this thing. This is a really annoying part of biome blend. Um, I wish the biomes were a little bit bigger, so that sort of thing wouldn't happen. As we can see here, that's a very, very small biome. It's a swamp biome. I think it's a swamp biome. Um, I don't really know what was going on here. It looks like I was just touring a world. I don't know what's going on down there. That looks kind of interesting though. No blocks were filled. See, totally random. Here, I believe is the beginning of the new maze I'm working on. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to eliminate about 32,000 blocks at a time. There's a limit to how many blocks you can remove or alter at a time. So the way that I fill these in with air is I just do the /fill command um, while, working on a bunch of specific coordinates and deal with 32,000 blocks at a time. That sounds like a lot, but it actually takes forever. And normally I have to do like 200, or not 200, but like 20,000 because there's always something stupid like this that happens. Like the water counts as additional blocks. It's just like, really? So there we have the finished hole. As you can see, it's very weird for the trees along the edge, but that's fine. And obviously the water was a problem, so I had to fix that later on. This is what it looks like from the bottom. This is just another angle. As you can see, all the water has been removed from the sides, or at least blocked off. Down there, the lava was blocked off with glass. I just thought it would look cooler that way. Yeah, work has begun, and wow, this is a pretty big project. I don't know if I'm ever going to finish this, but that's okay. Sometimes it's nice to have something a little bit too ambitious. But yeah, we're just looking around. Oh yeah, this is what it does. This is what it looks like from the side. So as you can see, there are a lot of ladders going up and down. Not too many mobs, but we don't really need it to be mobs everywhere. As long as people know that there's gonna be one within every 10 minutes, they're gonna be like, oh no, like which mob is it gonna be? Where's it gonna be? Is it gonna sneak up on me? So it's a lot more about the anticipation. Oh yeah, this is just a world seed I found, which was filled with enormous caves. This is all natural, and it's just one giant cave. Um, Obviously, this doesn't really work with somebody who has my sort of render distance. I usually play on 8 chunks, so if you play on more than that, you might be okay. But this is just an incredibly massive cave. I believe this is the last image. Yep, there's no little icon over here. So that was 195 images from what looks like 2022. but potentially also 2021. I don't know what it said at the beginning. Maybe even 2020. So I hope you found this enjoyable. This is over 40 minutes. Uh, and I didn't prep anything. Said a lot of uhs and ums, but I think it's okay. So let me know what you thought in the comments, if I should do something like this again at some point, or, if I shouldn't. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.